Hey guys, this is No Solution. I'm Scott, and this is my contest entry slash thread response to low noise Jason Skills. Excuse me, I'm already stuttering over my words. Um, he's celebrating 800 subscribers, and I really enjoy his channel. Has a very eclectic taste, from extreme metal to hip hop to techno to punk. A lot of the stuff he talks about, I'm not that familiar with, but I mean that's kind of the fun of watching other people's channels is learning about things you didn't really know about. So I always enjoy his videos and what he has to offer. And specifically, recently, Jason has been um, weeding out his collection and just talking about that and the process of it. And it kind of was like a pep talk to me because I was thinking of doing the same thing, and he was just talking about getting rid of stuff and how good it felt. And even if you're getting rid of stuff at a loss, I mean, it's a it's a sunk cost anyway. So if there's something you don't want and you're holding on to it because you think you can get more money out of it, it's really not worth it. And yeah, him just talking about getting rid of things, and if he decides that later he wants it, he can always get it back. It was kind of the pep talk I needed to do the same thing in my collection. So I appreciate that, Jason. I really enjoyed that aspect of your channel. And so the contest is talking about your favorite concerts. So Jason had asked for 5 to 15 of your favorite concerts, and he would like you to rank them if you could. So I have attempted to do that. Obviously, this ranking could change by the day, but I did my best. So I have a ranking of 10, but I have 4 that I had kind of have outside the ranking because I didn't feel like I could really rank it fairly. So the first 2 I have outside the ranking are my first 2 concerts. So the first one, I talked about this in a video for Dreadful Rick. My first concert ever was Judas Priest with Megadeth as support. It was January 17th, 1991 at Wings Stadium in Kalamazoo, Michigan. My very first concert. I was 15, and not something that my parents were going to take me to. So I have an uncle who was a big Judas Priest fan, so I talked to him, and he graciously agreed to take me. So it was a very, very cool memory, and my very first concert. And Judas Priest on the Painkiller Tour and Megadeth on Rust in Peace. You can't really get better than that, in my opinion, for a first concert. So yeah, my first concert, so I don't feel like I can really rank it with everything else. And my second concert was also at Wing Stadium, Kalamazoo, Michigan. It was Queensryche on May 31st, 1991. They were on the Empire Tour, but they were also doing the entire Operation Mindcrime album live. And yeah, just a fantastic concert. And again, my second concert, so I don't really feel like I could fairly rank it. For anyone who, well, probably most people who aren't aware, Kalamazoo, Michigan is kind of almost halfway in between Detroit and Chicago. And we have Wing Stadium is the home of a minor league hockey team here. So kind of those mid-tier bands, not like a stadium band or anything, but kind of those middle tier, bigger than a theater but not big enough for a stadium bands would hit Kalamazoo quite often because it was, a convenient spot in between those 2 major markets. So in the 90s, we got some good concerts in Kalamazoo here. So those are my 2 first concerts, and we'll move on to my favorite band, which I don't feel like I can really rank fairly with everybody else. So my favorite band is Marillion. The first time I saw them was October 2nd, 2004 at Park West in Chicago. I had the ticket stubs I could find. Some of my older ones are like buried in boxes somewhere, but there's that one. So this was on the Marbles tour, which kind of is seen as a high point in the discography, kind of the later point of this discography, but it's almost 20 years ago now. That was the first time I saw them, and they played like a 3-hour show. and 2 encores. The lights came on, the music played, and nobody would leave, so they came back out for a third encore, did another song. They did that a couple other times on the tour, so it wasn't the unique experience it felt like at the time, but still, that just kind of added to it. They played a whole set of a lot of the Marbles material, and then came out and played a whole nother set of just other stuff. And that was kind of when I was getting into Marillion more, and that kind of just solidified, like, yeah, these guys, this is the band for me. And my second one is also a Marillion show that I didn't feel like I could fairly rate. The first Marillion weekend I went to was April 8th through the 10th, 2011 in Montreal. And the ticket for that. Yeah, just 3 nights of Marillion, different set every night. I guess if I had to pick a favorite night, it would be the last night, that Sunday. They played. It was called "The Glow Must Go On," and they gave everybody glow sticks, and then at certain points in the set, you could vote for what song you wanted. And they played for like 3 hours that night. It was just such a great experience especially for your favorite band. So those are my kind of honorable mentions, I guess you would say, or things I didn't feel like I could rate amongst everything else. And then I have 10 that I actually rated. So number 10 was the band Horna. They're a Finnish black metal band. This show was April 5th, 2019. So Horna got into some, like, I don't know, cancel culture deal with Antifa because I'm not even sure. One of their members was session member on something else that was considered NSBM. I don't know, but basically they got kicked out of the venue they were supposed to be in Chicago. So we basically got an email saying, okay, be in Chicago on this day, and we will email you the location in the afternoon or so. So, why am I losing my train of thought? Sorry, guys. Yeah, so we did, and it ended up being like it was a place called Ranger Studios, kind of out in the suburbs. They had a full stage and everything. I guess it was like a recording studio / rehearsal space. But showed up there, and very professional setup. The band sounded great, and if there's anything metal fans hate, it's being thought of as dangerous and a secret show. So just the whole ambiance around it just made it very special. I'm actually not that huge a fan of Horna. Like I like them fine, but they're not like a bucket list band for me or anything. But the whole brouhaha around it, and them, you know, their whole tour kind of getting threatened made me feel like I had to go, and I was glad I went. It was a really fun time. My number 9 is Keith Caputo, who is now known as Mina Caputo. Is a trans person, but at the time was known as Keith. So I saw her in August 14th, 2008 at a place called the Whiskey Lounge in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which I don't believe is still there. So this was just kind of a mini tour, and obviously it was not promoted very well. I showed up at this bar, and there were like, I don't know, 20, 30 people there, but I was early. And then whatever local opener came on, and they played, and then they left, and then about 2/3 of the 30 people left, and nobody else came in. So it was like 10 or 12 person audience for the band, and I bought this at the show. It's just kind of like a demo comp that they were selling. So in a situation like this, sometimes that can be a downer, but the band didn't let it get to them. They just kind of got up there and played a full show and kind of had fun with it. And it was just a really unique and memorable experience to see somebody I admired that much in such an intimate setting. It wasn't supposed to be that intimate, but so yeah, this record here. They're touring on this, A Fondness for Hometown Cigars, which is a fine album. But this here, Heart's Blood on Your Dawn, is one of my favorite albums of all time. So they played a bunch of this too. And yeah, just a really, really unique, really great show. And kudos to the band for just playing it like a show and not just like there were 10 of us there. Because I've seen it the other way where the band is like bummed out and makes it known and then bums everybody else out. So right now, next, Blue Oyster Cult. I just recently saw them. It was October 1st, 2022 at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, Illinois. It took me a long time to get into this band. I tried over and over and it just didn't click. And then finally, like in 2021, it kind of started to make sense to me, and I really got into them and listened to all the albums. And I saw this show was coming up, and I checked the tickets, and there was one ticket front row center, and I was like, that sounds like it's made for me. That sounds like it's a sign. And I went, and it was an amazing show. I didn't expect too much. They're like, the two original members are in their mid to late 70s, and so I didn't really expect a lot, but it was an awesome show. They vary the set list every night. Like, they still care. They're not just stumbling through the 10 hits you expect to hear. So that was a fantastic experience. I'm really glad I got to see Blue Oyster Cult. And if I get a chance again, if they're still touring, I'll definitely go. Number 7, Emperor. This was the Kings of Terror tour. I saw them at the Congress Theater in Chicago on July 9th, 1999. I do have a ticket somewhere. Oh, here it is. So it was them, Borknagar. It says on here, it says Peccatum and Divine Empire, but Witchery was also on that show. I had seen Emperor the year before at Milwaukee Metal Fest, but they did not bring their keyboard player. So this was like the full Emperor experience. Just an awesome time to see the kind of the pinnacle of Norwegian black metal at the time play this show. Yeah. Not a lot to say about it. It was awesome. It was Emperor. All right, we'll move on to number 6. Going outside of metal here, Tori Amos. I saw at the Ari Crown Theater in Chicago, and that was October 23rd, 2001. She was touring on the Strange Little Girls album, which is her cover album. Pardon me. And it was the first time in a few years that it was just her. There was no backing band. It was just her and the piano. And we were, I don't know, third row or something. So right up, and a very, very intimate experience, even in a theater like that. But they were so close to her, and it was just her and the piano. And if you haven't seen Tori live, I highly recommend it. She's an incredible performer, and not many can match up to her. Number 5, I've got Porcupine Tree. That I saw them. Oh man, this ticket is faded as crap. There we go. It was at the Double Door in Chicago on July 29th, 2002. This was right before In Absentia came out, which is kind of, I don't know if it's called if it was their breakthrough. I think maybe retroactively considered their breakthrough. It wasn't like a big album at the time or anything, but they played a lot from that and a lot from obviously the older stuff. I had just really gotten into them like a year and a half before because they Steven Wilson had produced Blackwater Park by Opeth, and that's kind of what got me interested in Porcupine Tree. So, to see them in this like little bar in Chicago for like no money, great experience. I've seen them many times since, but that's still got to be my favorite. Number 4 is, now I'm gonna cheat. Jason didn't say if you could do like a multiple band deal, but I'm doing that. So My number 4 is Hell's Head Bash, the original Hell's Head Bash, which was August 9th, 2014. So this was a free show at their warehouse, basically. So you showed up, you could go into the Hell's Headbangers warehouse and shop and buy whatever you wanted, and there was like a grill outside. You could buy hamburgers, drinks. You could bring whatever you wanted to drink, and then there was like a separate warehouse space where the stage was set up, and the lineup was Nunslaughter, Acid Witch, Shitfucker, and Midnight, and just a fantastic lineup. Not a huge fan of Shitfucker, but whatever, they're fun to see, and I'm a huge fan of the other 3 bands, and yeah, just a real fun day. Definitely one of my favorite concert experiences. So that was number 4. Number 3 is the Fags. So this was in Hamtramck, Michigan, suburb of Detroit. This was October 8th, 2016. So the Fags put out they were signed to a major and recorded their album, and then the record company sat on it and then cut them without ever releasing the album. It took them a couple years to get the album back. So by the time they got the album back, it was 2006, and then they had broken up by that time. So I discovered them after that, so I just figured, well, I'm never going to see them. But for the 10th anniversary of the record, they decided to do a show, and it was like a dream come true. Like, I never thought I'd see them live, and it was amazing. They played the whole album. They did play another show the next year, which was a longer show and maybe a better show, but this was like a dream come true. It was a bucket list that I never thought would ever happen. So very happy to have seen the Fags, and then they haven't done anything since. So I think that's it for them. Number 2 is Dream Theater at the Riviera Theater in Chicago, February 13th, 2000. So this was the tour for Scenes from a Memory, and I had specifically stayed away from any kind of spoilers or set lists or whatever. But I did not know. I could have known, but I did not know they're playing the entire album front to back on this tour. And that album is a perfect album to me. It means a lot to me personally. And just to hear them do the whole thing when I wasn't expecting it was just an awesome experience. And then they did an encore that was like another 45 minutes of music. So yeah, that's a standout for me. And number 1, this is another cheat. So I went to Prague Power festival in Atlanta, Georgia, at Center Stage in 2016. It's always a tempting festival, but there's always like 1 or 2 bands, and I'm in Michigan, and that's in Georgia, so it's a flight and hard to justify. But this festival, they did a entire Fates Warning reunion for Awaken the Guardian. That was on the Friday night, I believe. I don't remember, or no. Was this Saturday, Sunday? So that must have been Saturday. So to kind of keep it fair, I chose the second day. So on this day, here's the ticket. I had the Green Carnation guys sign this because they were doing a signing. I didn't have anything for them to sign. So on this day, it opened with Annika van Giersbergen doing an acoustic set, and that was exclusive to Gold Badge members, which you kind of have to have been going a while to have a Gold Badge. But I kind of trolled around online and actually made a friend of somebody who had an extra Gold Badge and let me use it to go to that show. If you've never seen Annika, she's just a fantastic singer, fantastic performer. So I was very happy to see her solo set. Then Green Carnation was playing the entire Light of Day, Day of Darkness album. If you don't know that album, it's a 1-hour, 1-track album. Kind of doomy, kind of proggy. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so amazing. One of my favorite albums of all time. And Green Carnation had broken up for about 10 years, and they had reunited, and then they were doing this show as their exclusive U.S. appearance, playing this entire album. So I had to be there. And one of the cool experiences of that, I was in like kind of the third row, and there was a guy in front of me at the front who had a Devin Townsend shirt on. Devin Townsend was headlining, and he was like, I had a Green Carnation shirt on, and he's like, "Hey man, you like Green Carnation?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, cool. You want to take my spot for Green Carnation, and then we'll switch back out when Devin Townsend comes out." I was like, "Freaking awesome, man!" So yeah, what a fest. I've never had such a good experience with like the fan base and how professionally it's run, and yeah. So I got to see Green Carnation right up front. Then Haken played after that, a band that I would kind of half liked, but I didn't really get until I saw them live, and then I was like, yeah, okay, I get it now. I'm in on Haken. And then Devin Townsend with the Devin Townsend Project played that night with Annika van Giersbergen on vocals as well. She had guested on a lot of his stuff, so to see them together was quite an experience, and I'm very glad I went to that show. So that would be my number one concert. Just so many heavy hitters on one day. I had to pick that. I don't know if that's in the spirit of what Jason wanted, but hopefully, Jason, you think this is okay. So those are my concert experiences and my ranking of my concerts. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. And we'll see you on the next one. And as always, CM Punk is a piss baby. Later.